As I understand it, Dryden, you are unruffled by the tariff drama. Why not?
I am not terrified by tariffs at all. And the reason why is it looks like President Trump has found his weapon of choice, and that's tariffs. And it basically is unilaterally exposed to give policy changes. We see that working. You can take a look at Colombia. You can take a look at Mexico. So I think it's very, very important that he's got his weapon of choice. He's able to use it. He's able to use tariffs instead of troops. And I'm not afraid of them at all. I think you're going to have some reaction to it. But I think that you have to think of tariffs as more like a sanction. And it's a sanction that can be unilaterally imposed and laser focused on a particular company or a particular country or a particular commodity. And so in doing it that way, you can use it to encourage behavior and economic activity in a very, very focused way. And so I think that this is a new weapon system. Then you have a president that's willing to use it. And he seems to be using it quite effectively. Well, so I'm not afraid of the big numbers. These are the first salvo in a dance.
I would say that the behavior was changed pretty quickly on behalf of Mexico, Kenny. As you heard Edward Lawrence say, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, said, OK, we'll commit 10,000 troops to the southern border to try and prevent the inflow to the U.S. of fentanyl. So that certainly worked, did it not? But for the markets, they're not focused on that. They are looking at all kinds of reactions and domino effects that tariffs would bring, whether it's the influx of vegetables from the southern border and the Canadian border, et cetera. And then you've got earnings. So what are you watching? There just appear to be so many plates in the air.
Well, there are a lot of cross currents. What I think is interesting is that Mexico and Sheinbaum came to the table today when she could very easily have done this last week or the week before and said, you know what, we're going to send troops and avoided all this drama. But she decided not to until today when the pressure was really on, right? Now, the market welcomed that. But to your point, there's a lot of other stuff going on. And to Dryden's point, I don't think there's all this panic over using tariffs as a negotiating tool, because very clearly he's now used it to our advantage. And I think people recognize that and understand that. And the ones that were lighting their hair on fire this morning, selling stock as quick as they could, are certainly looking at themselves now in the mirror and saying, what did I do? What did I do? Right? Because it is not nearly as negative as it appeared it was. But that being said, like to your point, there's eco data, there's earnings. There's going to be big earnings week this week. We got the NFP report on Friday. There's going to be lots of data about that, talking about the state of the U.S. economy, which I think is actually fairly robust at the moment. Remember, we saw PMIs. The manufacturing PMI is now in expansionary territory after spending 27 months in contractionary.
Yeah. And let's be clear, we did have a mistake on the calendar. ADP is Wednesday, and the JOLTS, the job openings and labor turnovers, are tomorrow. Just wanted to make sure we got that information to our viewers. So that said, Dryden, give me a sense of I mean, let's be fair. Investors, are they not to believe President Trump and not sell? Like Kenny said, you know, people were too knee-jerk. They sold. That is actually true. But are they not supposed to believe what President Trump says?
Well, clearly the foreign countries believe what President Trump says because they've reacted to it. So I think when people have to realize that the president's serious, and if pushed, he will do what he says he's going to do. And because of that, this becomes a very effective weapon. Now, the point is that if you look at the U.S. economy and many countries here, we're basically a service-led economy. So the vast, 4 to 5 jobs are service-related. So we're fairly insulated from the tariffs themselves. So I think people are very likely to overreact to these things. And I always say, take advantage of volatility. Don't be its victim.
Well, let's look at the VIX. I think can we pull up the VIX? Earlier, it was spiking more than 20%. Right now, it is moderated. It is still higher. But, Kenny, you have said that the volatility index, just watch it. That's where you will get your answers for much of this.
Right. And actually, this morning when I wrote my note, it was up at 20%, trading like at 19 and change. But the number to watch is 28 on the VIX. That's the number that would have really set it over the edge where fear and volatility would have spiked tremendously, because that's the most recent high. So anything below that, there's some uncertainty and a little bit of angst. But if it traded above that number, then we would have seen the market really come under pressure. But to your point, people need to sit back. As a long-term investor, you need to sit back and watch what's happening and understand that, Trump is going to do what he says he's going to do. That's clear. And nobody should be surprised, because he's been saying it for months. Ever since he's campaigning, he said it was going to happen. So nobody was caught off guard.
And really quickly, Dryden, we are looking at a headline right now. As the president is speaking with Justin Trudeau on the phone, the White House press secretary just said that there is a plan for Trump and China's leader Xi Jinping to speak over the next 24 hours. Things are moving very quickly. Do you look at Chinese stocks or ADRs and say maybe it's worth a dip in the toe there, or what do you like at this moment?
I think, like I said, we like to take advantage of volatility and not be its victim, because generally this is a dance. You don't know whether it's a waltz or a jitterbug or a break dance, but the important thing, these are dances of negotiations, and they need us more than we need them. And we've got buyer's leverage. So I think what you're going to see in each of these countries, there's going to be conversations, and President Trump is probably going to get to a place where we end up in a better position than we were before. And I think that you're seeing that. People who refused to come to the table before are coming to the table now, and the president's getting much more of what he wanted.
Yeah, witness what happened with Mexico today. 10,000 troops now promised to go to the southern border. Kenny, Dryden, great to have you.
It's amazing.
It kind of
right?
is.
It's amazing.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you both.
This is going to be fun to watch and participate and profit from.
Okay. Although if you're an importer, might not be fun, might be flying by the seat of your pants.